Answer is 6. The answer on this one is 120 because 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 times 1 can break up as 20 times 6, which is 120. Answer should be 5040. 3 factorial is 6 and 2 factorial is 2. Multiply those together to get 12. 4 factorial is 24 and 3 factorial is 6. Multiply those together to get 144. Winning numbers are 2, 6, 10, 12, and 18. Today's objective is to use factorials for combinations and permutations in CR and in PR. Example 1. You have a shelf that has this many books on it. And you want to read 3 books at a time. Any 3 books. How many different ways can you have a combination of 3 books from that shelf? You want to choose 3 at a time, checking out 3 at a time if that's a library. How many books are there altogether? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And if it doesn't matter what order they're in, is it combination or permutation? Which one is it that order is important? You have a 50-50 chance if you guess. Which one is it, combination or permutation, in which order is important? C or P? Oop, that's an R. P, order is important in permutations, but in this problem, combination is what you're going to have to use because it doesn't matter in which order you're going to choose the 3 books. You just want 3 books at a time. So how many different combinations of books can you have choosing 3 at a time? So you have 9 to start with, and you're going to choose 3. So that would be 9 factorial over 3 factorial times the quantity factorial of 9 minus 3. So that's really 9 factorial over 3 factorial times 6 factorial when you do this subtraction. Now don't forget there are the shortcuts you can use. You have 9 factorial over 6 factorial. That means you would be left with what numbers from 9 factorial? If this 6 factorial cancels out part of 9 factorial, what numbers are you left with 9 factorial? Yeah, you would have 9, 8, and 7. And then don't forget on the bottom you still have 3 factorial, which is 3, 2, and 1. So your 3 can cancel out with the 9 to get 3, and 2 with the 8 to get 4. You still have a 7 left over. So it would be 12 times 7, which would be 84, having to write it down here in the corner. Or I could have written it here, 84. We have books on a shelf. And we want to read 4 at a time. It doesn't matter in what order we read the books. We just want to choose 4 at a time. If order is not important, then you're going to use combination. We know we're going to use 4 at a time, but we have to figure out how many books there are altogether. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 books. So a combination of choosing 4 from 11 would be 11 factorial over 4 factorial times the quantity factorial of 11 minus 4. So you still have 11 factorial on top and 4 factorial on the bottom, but 11 minus 4 is 7. So we have to simplify what's left over here. Now, if I cancel 11 factorial with 7 factorial, there's going to be some numbers left over on top. What numbers would be left over on top if I cancel between 11 and 7? Remember the shortcut from before. What if I had 11 factorial, this, I'll write it all out. And all of that is over 7 factorial. What cancels out? Yeah, 7 on down cancels out right there. And remember the shortcut is if you have 11 factorial over 7 factorial, 11 minus 7 is 4, which means you only need the first 4 numbers of 11 factorial. So 11, 10, 9, and 8. Now from the problem that we did, don't forget there was still a 4 factorial in this spot from example 2. So we'll go ahead and include that. And if I have 4 factorial on the bottom now, that's 4, 3, 2, and 1. You can group together 4 and 2 on the bottom to get 8 and cancel it with the 8 on top. So those are gone. You also have a 3 on the bottom, 9 on the top. That'll cancel to a 3 on the top. So 3 times 10 is 30, times 11 is 330. Different ways you could choose 4 books from 11 books total. Here's another example. These are books on a shelf, and you'll have to count up how many books there are. And we want to choose 6 at a time. How many different combinations are there of choosing 6 at a time from that many books? Well, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. We have 14 books, and we're choosing 6 at a time. Now the combination formula is 14 factorial over 6 factorial, and then you want the factorial of those two numbers subtracted. So 14 minus 6, and whatever that is, factorial. When you do that subtraction on the bottom, it's going to be an 8. So 14 factorial over 6 factorial times 8 factorial. And you can do some cancellations that might make it a little easier to work out. So we had a 14 factorial over 6 factorial times 8 factorial. The shortcut is 14 factorial over 8 factorial leaves you with simply 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, and 9 on top, because this would have canceled out with the rest of that on the top. And then 6 factorial is 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now you can cancel out a number of ways. Always try to get the biggest ones out if you can. You have a 6 and a 2 on the bottom. That's 12. There's a 12 on top. So we can knock those out. Then you have a 5. You have a 5 here and a 10 there. 10 over 5 is 2, so cancel those out and just leave a 2. There's a 3 on the bottom and a 9 on top. 9 over 3 is 3. So we can cancel those out. The 1 on the bottom makes no difference. And we also have a 4 here. Now 4 and 14, that's just going to have to reduce to 7 over 2. But don't forget, you still have a 2 on top that we used from cancellation. So these 2's can cancel out. You're left with 7 times 11 times 3 times 13. 7, 13, 11, and 3. That's the same thing as 77 times 39. And from there you can figure that out on a calculator. 77 times 39 should be 3003. First, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 books. And we want to choose 3 at a time. It doesn't matter what order we choose them in. So 7 choose 3. That is 7 factorial over 3 factorial. And then subtract these two, 7 minus 3, and have a factorial of that. That dwindles down to 7 factorial over 3 factorial times 4 factorial. So we have 7 factorial over 3 factorial times 4 factorial. Wrote that in yellow, but we can trace over it. There we go. Looks like it's 3D now. So you can simplify this in one of a number of different ways, but 7 factorial over 4 factorial means that you're left with 7, 6, and 5 on the top, because 4 factorial from here on out on the top is canceled with this on the bottom. And then you're left with 3 factorial on the bottom. The 1 makes no difference. 3 times 2 is 6. And that cancels with the 6 on top. So you're left with 7 times 5, which is 35. Answer to the bonus is 12. Bonus number 2. Answer is 72 for bonus 2. Here's bonus 3. The answer to this one is 180. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 books. Choosing 7 at a time. So that's 13 factorial over 7 factorial times the quantity factorial of 13 minus 7. So that's 13 factorial over 7 factorial times 6 factorial. We had 13 factorial over 7 factorial times 6 factorial. And again, I wrote it in yellow. So I'll go back and trace real quick. Now, with a shortcut, this over this would leave you with 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, and 8. And then 6 factorial would give you this on the bottom. The 1 means nothing. We can cancel out a 6 and a 2 on the bottom and knock out a 12 on the top. We can cancel 10 over 5 to get a 2 and 9 over 3 to get a 3. 8 over 4 to get a 2, and be left with 13 times 11 times 2 times 3 times 2. Well, 13 times 11 is going to be 143, and then this over here is going to be a 12. So we have to multiply 143 by 12 to come up with 1,716. The bonus should be 3360. Here's another bonus. Answer on the bonus should be 30.